Hey everybody, welcome back to JT Channel and welcome to my review of AEW Grand Slam Australia. Excuse my voice, I'm still kind of waking up and I always have to clear my voice a bunch first thing in the morning. Took place last night, obviously from Sydney, Australia. It took place in like the middle of the night or something, my time, so obviously it didn't air until the evening, so finally got to watch it last night. But before I get into it, apparently during the house show they did right after, on the next day, which was AEW House Rules. They do those once in a while. They don't do a whole lot of house shows. Not only did Tony Storm and Jon Moxley get to wrestle each other, but apparently the Inspiration made their AEW debut. Of course, they used to be the Iconics in WWE. I sincerely apologize. I can only remember Cassie Lee for some reason. Again, first thing in the morning making this video. So that's really cool. I can already hear the internet melting down that they didn't debut on TV. Who cares? Tony Khan knew that people would be filming, and I think AEW had their own camera crew there, so all that was always going to be on the internet. We were always going to find out. Apparently, they've officially signed with AEW. They'll likely be on Dynamite on Wednesday, probably fighting the Brawling Birds, I would assume, because they're also scheduled to wrestle on Wednesday, which is Jamie Hayter and Alex Windsor. So just all kinds of awesome Australian talent and overseas talent, all these signings. We're going to get to another one on this show. So I wanted to get that out of the way. House Rules, really cool. But that took place after Grand Slam. So let's jump into Grand Slam. Opening contest, Jon Moxley, I always get his name messed up, Konosuke Takeshita for the Continental Championship. This ruled. This ruled. That's the only thing I can say about it. I don't know. I did the coming out this coming Thursday is the first episode of Retro Wrestling Rewind, and I went into way too much detail about certain matches at WrestleMania 6. It's a really long video. I'm warning you guys now. The reason I'm bringing that up is because here, I don't know what to tell you. They just beat the hell out of each other for 20 minutes, and we'll get to that in a second. But there was just kicks to the face and knees to the face and knees to the back of the head and slams all over hell, throwing each other here, there, and everywhere, punching each other in the face, elbows, forearms. I got those backwards. It was awesome, right? And these are just two guys that made you believe that this Continental Championship meant something. And shout out to the fan who had a sign that said "too many belts" in the same font as "too many cooks." That made me laugh. Of course, it got the stupid song stuck in my head, and now hopefully it's stuck in your head too. And it's right. There are too many belts in all of wrestling, not just AEW. Don't even start. But in order for each champion to make each title feel important, this is what you have to do. You have to really get the fans invested. And they really did that because this ended in a time limit draw. Now, I wanted a draw, but not in this match and not on this show. Well, that sounds dumb. Point is, I've been thinking about draws lately and how AEW, I feel like they haven't done one in a little while. I think they did one in the Continental Classic, maybe. So again, Continental Championship match, where else to do it? And I believe what was really interesting here, and I didn't even think about it, how it was foreshadowing until after the match was over, that Excalibur pointed out that, yeah, Continental Championship matches, 20-minute time limit. Most championship matches on TV are 20-minute time limits. But on pay-per-view, they get 60 minutes, which makes me think, especially considering what happened after the match, we're likely going to get a rematch, maybe even at Revolution, and there they'll be able to wrestle for 20, 30, 40 minutes, which, good Lord, that's going to be nuts. But yeah, this was fantastic. I loved every single second of it. These are just two great wrestlers. Jon Moxley continues to climb the ladder of being one of the top baby faces in the company again. Takeshita should probably win that belt. I think I picked him to win it or predicted him to win it. I don't know, whichever. He should probably win it the next time they face off. After the match, you could tell Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita were really selling the idea of being pissed off that there wasn't a clear winner. They got in each other's faces. I think Jon hit Konosuke. Takeshita just wiped him out and hit him with the Fire Thunder Driver or whatever his finisher is called, and then stormed off. So, again, I highly, highly doubt this feud is over. And again, I almost said Shivani. Tony Schiavone and Excalibur were on commentary, but it was Excalibur that pointed out the time limit difference between pay-per-view and television. So, it really feels like we're going to lean on this rematch, and then Takeshita should probably win. Again, fantastic hot start to the show. It being a draw meant you really didn't know what was going to happen. So let's get into what was next. But yeah, fantastic starting match. Women's Tag Team Championship were up next, and I'm sorry about the background. I do my best. It was the Babes of Wrath, Harley Cameron, and Willow Nightingale defending against Megabad, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford. This was probably the fun match of the evening, considering the rest of the matches were insane. But they had a lot of fun in this match. You know how good all four of these are. I went into it in depth in my picks and predictions video, just how much I love all these four. Harley Cameron, big pop in Australia, obviously. And just, as a plane flies over my home, just another example of how good the women's division is. Lots and lots of, not knowing exactly who was legal, at least for me. It just seemed like every time there was just more double teams and double teams and double teams, which is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It was really cool to see just how well-oiled these two teams seemed and how well they all worked together. There were miscommunications here and there, or they were done on purpose. I think a couple of times they were like, Megabad was thrown into each other. Again, not much to tell you other than to go out of your way to watch it if you have HBO Max. It's just such a good matchup. What I found interesting was the finish, was it kind of seemed like they got away with it, which I do think was on purpose, again, considering the aftermath. We're going to talk about the aftermath. Maybe this is the last time, but aftermath. But Harley Cameron was basically able to hit a backslide and catch Penelope Ford off guard to get the 1, 2, 3. Again, I kind of zoomed through that. I really want to take a second to shine another spotlight on Megan Bayne. She doesn't need me to shine a spotlight on her. I'm some small-time YouTube guy who reviews wrestling videos or wrestling matches or shows or whatever from time to time. But she was so good in this match. I can't remember what move it was. There's two moves I want to talk about, but the first one I actually don't remember. But I just remember being surprised that Megan Bayne did it because she's one of those big, tall, strong women, and she did some sort of crazy... running, whatever. I'm so sorry. Again, first thing in the morning. But the craziest move was Harley Cameron doing a destroyer to Megan Bayne. And I know when you break down a destroyer, it doesn't make any sense. But again, do that to any wrestling move. But still to be able to pull that off, super cool looking. And that could have been the finish, and I think everybody would have been okay with it. But in the end, there was a surprise at the end of the match. Lena Cross, who I admittedly don't remember, but was instantly just like, whoa. Another big woman comes in and helps Megabad wipe out the Women's Tag Team Champions. Penelope Ford kind of seems iffy, or other way around. Penelope Ford seems excited that Megan Bayne and Lena Cross are together, whereas Megan Bayne seemed kind of unsure, but at the same time, again, you can't really see it, but behind me is them all three standing together. So I guess Megabad now involves Lena Cross, who is a little bit taller, it looks like, than Megan Bayne. Apparently, they teamed together elsewhere on the Indies or something. So Lena Cross is now all elite. Basically, it's just two really big, really strong women who are probably going to win the tag team titles now. Maybe that's why Megabad didn't win here, is because we're going to go and push Megan and Lena together, which I really like. Again, I don't know Lena Cross that well, but you know me. I'm going to go do my research. I'm going to go find out. All I know is her immediate presence made me an immediate fan. That's what happened with Megan Bayne. I didn't know anything about the Megasis, but when she first showed up on AEW, her presence and everything she did, I was like, bam, fan for life. Lena Cross, probably the same thing. Just a fantastic introduction, or reintroduction. I guess she wrestled on AEW last year, if I remember right, from what they were telling us on commentary. Just a good match and a great aftermath, in my opinion, a great angle moving forward. Maybe this, again, not to try to push too far ahead, but maybe this is the Revolution match. Maybe it's Megan Bayne and Lena Cross taking on the Babes of Wrath, and then that's who wins the tag team titles. So another title retained here, but a really good match, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next. Number one contenders match came next. It was Hangman Adam Page against Andrade El Idolo. What, you want me to give you words? You want me to tell you what happened when Andrade and Adam Page wrestled? I don't know what you want from me. this was really good. I obviously had pitched the idea of Andrade winning because I liked the idea of Andrade being in the world title scene. Hopefully he stays there, stays in the upper echelon of the AEW sphere, up in the main event scene. But this was great. Lots of just, again, real close near falls, real big moments, big moves. They tried to go for their finishes super early, which I always laugh at. It's funny when wrestlers go for their finishes early and can't hit it, but it's much more entertaining when they do. I've seen lots of matches that started with someone just hitting finishers, and it's just like, you didn't think that was going to work already, did you? Except for WrestleMania 28, we won't talk about it. But this was just awesome. It was two guys who clearly wanted to be in the main event scene. I thought it was a really good match, and once again, we have to talk about the finish, because we went back to the well that we did every week, but this was going to the well one too many times. Don Callis was distracting the referee. Andrade went for a low blow. Adam Page blocked, grabbed his leg, threw his leg down, low blowed Andrade, took him down, hit the buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3. Hangman Adam Page versus, wait till we get there, at Revolution. It's going to be great. Hangman Adam Page continues to be the main character of AEW. Even when he isn't the sole, big story, he always carries main character energy everywhere he goes. I figured he was going to win. I think everyone could see that coming. While Andrade's push has been really good, we were never going to give him the World Championship opportunity. Not yet, anyway. Interested to see what happens at Revolution. Again, we'll talk about it at the end of this video when we get to the main event. But this was really good. I always think Hangman Adam Page is a good choice for a World Heavyweight Champion. He's just too good at what he does. He's a fan favorite. Again, he's kind of the main character of AEW. So, congratulations to Hangman for becoming #1 contender. And I'm really curious, like I said, to see what they do with Andrade now. Don Callis was pissed. But hopefully they keep Andrade up high. Don't just make him disappear again. I mean, that wasn't his fault. But do more with Andrade. And yeah, he could probably be a babyface in no time if they wanted him to. So, Hangman Adam Page is going to Revolution. Somebody, as I get a stupid... There we go. Is going to get their head shaved bald. Who do you ask? You probably can't see that because it's too bright. But it was Toni Storm and Orange Cassidy versus Marina Shafir and Wheeler Yuta in a mixed tag team tornado tag, beat the hell out of each other matchup. And the person who took the fall was going to get their head shaved bald. I mentioned that the women's tag team match was fun. This was fun. This was an absolute blast. I was laughing almost the entire time, start to finish. Absolutely tremendous. They started brawling in the crowd. They fought all over the place. Really early on, in a spot that I did not see coming. Now, I did mention, and I did expect them to fight each other, the men and the women, because that was always going to happen. But earlier than I expected, Wheeler Yuta pile drove Toni Storm onto a box-like structure to copy Michael Cole. And Toni crumpled into a bunch of crates and Luther carried her to the back. It was insane. It was honestly an intense moment. It had me go, whoa! I really didn't see that coming. So then Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir just beat up Orange Cassidy for a while before Toni Storm comes back, which is the only reason they did that. She's from Australia. They had her take a big shocking move so she could make her big fun return. Wheeler Yuta runs at her on the stage, boot, right in the balls. Lots of ball kicks this show. But the match continues for a while. In the end, Marina Shafir and Toni Storm are doing submissions to the men. I think Marina Shafir has a front ankle lock on Orange Cassidy, and Toni Storm had the cross-face chicken wing on Wheeler Yuta. That is one of my favorite moves that never gets used anymore. More chicken wings. Bob Backlund would be so proud. They threw them down. They fought for a while. Eventually, Marina Shafir gets taken out with, I believe, a beach break. I think Orange Cassidy got revenge with a beach break. I think he also went for an orange punch, but didn't hit it. But at the very end, orange punch to Wheeler Yuta. Toni Storm, Storm Zero, payback. That's a pile driver. Pins Wheeler Yuta. 1, 2, 3. And then after the match, Wheeler Yuta is like, no. Mina Shirakawa, which was a great twist. Not twist, but a great little cherry on top. Comes out with a little stool for Wheeler to sit on. Wheeler had the hair that he had cut off of Marina braided into his own hair, which I thought was a nice touch. He goes to leave, and in one of the, again, I'm laughing this entire match because even after the match there's comedy, because Wheeler Yuta goes to leave and Jon Moxley, who's already bald, comes out of nowhere like just a fed up dad. His son doesn't want to get his hair cut, but it's time. His hair's gotten too long. He's like, go, I'm bald. What's wrong with being bald? It's so funny. It's so funny. And there's a shot of Jon Moxley in the corner just doing this. And it is just, I almost made it the background for this match. But I wanted you to see Wheeler Yuta get his head shaved to the best of your ability. Marina Shafir was holding his hand. Look, I've got long hair. But what's wrong with being bald? I can't wait to watch Ups and Downs later because Simon Miller is going to have a meltdown about how Wheeler Yuta reacted to get his head shaved. But he did such a good job. I saw Andy Murray from What Culture also. I know I shout them out a lot, but they're my inspirations for doing all this. I saw him on Twitter say that he might be the best little shit in all of wrestling. He really is. Wheeler Yuta, that is. But this was the funnest match of the night. Again, I was just almost in tears of laughter the entire time. Even the pile driver spot, while it did shock me, afterwards I was just like, oh God, I can't believe he just did that. So, I don't think we're done here. I think they grabbed Wheeler Yuta before he was completely shaved bald. He kind of had the Hulk Hogan going on. He had all of this shaved off. So, and I'm sure he'll come out on Dynamite with his hair completely shaved off. Again, I'm having a what's next thing going on in my head. Do we continue this feud with like Tony and Marina? They get a singles match? Or does everybody go their separate directions now? We'll see. But this was a lot of fun. And yeah, Wheeler Yuta's bald now. Leave it to All Elite Wrestling to go for... Oh God, here we go. Hold on. Sorry. To go from absolutely hilarious to absolutely disgusting, as it is time for Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, match 7 of their very secret and quiet Best of 7 series. It's a ladder match. This was nuts from the start. These two just... Again, we went from hilarious to, I don't know if I can watch this, which is a complete lie. I will always watch Car Crash Wrestling. Again, I can only do so much. They hit each other with a ladder. They threw each other off of ladders. There were some really crazy spots. Mark Briscoe got busted open. Kyle Fletcher did that thing where you put a ladder on the corner facing outward, so it's like looking at you. And he lawn darted Mark Briscoe into it. But the way he did it, Mark like crumpled into the ladder. The ladder went absolutely flying, and he may have gotten busted open hard way, to be honest with you. Then we went to commercial break, and we came back, and Kyle Fletcher was bleeding all over the place. He had, like, rhinestones in his face. I don't even know what's going on anymore. This was just insanity. There was moves through ladders. I think there was a powerbomb was one of them. Mark Briscoe powerbombed Kyle Fletcher. No, other way around. Kyle Fletcher powerbombed Mark Briscoe into a ladder that snapped in half. And then there was another spot where a ladder was broken into. I think it was a J-driller. Yeah, they had a ladder bridge set up in the corner, which a J-driller, if you don't know, if you've been watching my videos and you don't watch AEW, it's a double underhook pile driver that broke a ladder. I was like, okay, so Mark Briscoe is definitely going to win. Then Kyle Fletcher went up the ladder. As I close and cover my eyes because I have to recount this, Kyle Fletcher picked him up and did a brain buster off a ladder. How do you do that and not kill your opponent? I don't know. These two may be the most professional of professional wrestlers. I think that was it. No. Mark Briscoe still managed to climb back up the ladder. And again, I can hear the internet melting down. How are there pile drivers through ladders, power bombs through ladders, brain busters off of ladders, and they're both still doing moves? Who cares? It's pro wrestling. Suspend your disbelief. Mark went up the ladder one more time, I think, before he got pushed off, and Kyle Fletcher retained his TNT title. I know I was rooting for Mark because I think this is a good title to kind of hot potato, but I don't care. Kyle Fletcher's the fucking man. 2025, he really got just launched to the top. And I think in 2024 is where it started. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world. He just continues to get better. And now we can do something else, right? And that's super awesome to see. Everyone thinks we're probably going to get, well, not everyone, but I'm seeing people say maybe we'll get Ciampa versus Fletcher 2, maybe at Revolution. And that match was the best match I've seen all year so far. So doing it on a pay-per-view oh my gosh, where you have even more time. Same thing with like Moxley and Takeshita. I think Revolution's really going to be good this year. But anyway, this was just fantastic. If you like car crash wrestling, the violent wrestling, the blood, the violence, ladders being used all over the place, this match is for you. This show really was a variety show. It had a little bit of everything. Really happy that Kyle Fletcher won. Again, I was rooting for Mark, but I don't care. I just hope they do something with Mark Briscoe. The problem with Mark Briscoe is that AEW and Tony Khan will get behind him and they'll push him and do a bunch of stuff with him, and then they'll forget about him and send him back to Ring of Honor or something, which is fine. Ring of Honor is great, but I want to see him more and more and more. Like, I go back to my idea from my predictions video where you can do the triple threat. You shouldn't, because this was match 7. The best of 7 series is over. Kyle Fletcher should move on to something else. So, again, like I've said a lot on this video, I'm very curious as to what's next for Kyle Fletcher, but what a match. Holy shit. That's right, I said it. Our main event was up next, MJF versus Brody King for the AEW World title. Once again, there were some chants at the start of this match, and bravo to Warner Brothers because the show was filmed and then released later. I couldn't hear it much. I had to turn down. My kids were sleeping, but apparently they did not censor out some certain chants, and I'm just going to repeat what I said on my predictions video. I love Brody King. Leave it at that. Move on. This was very different than what I expected. And this was more of an MJF match than it was a Brody King match, and that's not a problem. I know when I say stuff like that, it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not. There are 1,000 different styles of wrestlers out there, and when you have a match with two characters who are so different, you kind of have to make sure that they work well together, and this was really, really good. Brody King was still the monster of this, but there was a lot more MJF nonsense. It went a lot longer than I expected it to. I'm going to say this, and maybe I'll catch some flack for it. I did not get into this match as much as I thought I was going to. Once it got going, because after a couple of minutes, I realized, okay, we're not going to crown Brody King. And I don't know, whenever a match has no jeopardy, it does kind of take me out of it. And AEW's always been really, really good, especially after this past Wednesday, of making you believe that anybody can win any match anytime. And while I did kind of get that for the rest of the show, like all the rest of the show, you could have convinced me that the other person was going to win. In this match, I just kind of didn't get into it. I tried. It was fun. It sounds like I'm dissing them. They're both two incredible pro wrestlers. I think Brody King should be world champion someday, but it's just not his time. AEW clearly has a plan. And fair play to Tony Khan. He's got an idea on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard or on a computer somewhere. And he's like, look, I know Brody King's really popular right now, but I'm not changing tact. This is what we're doing. Clearly, if you can't figure it out, MJF did retain, but it was a good match. I'm not dissing the match at all. The lack of jeopardy always makes me kind of go, bleh. And it's not just AEW. Like I said, AEW, in my opinion, is a much better company at making you believe, hey, either of these guys, either of these gals, any of the people in this match could win it. WWE has the same problem. If there's a tag team title match between, like when the Usos faced the Alpha Academy, I didn't believe for 2 seconds they were going to win that match, Alpha Academy. But I still watched it. I still had a good time. And it's the same thing here. I had a good time. But once we were 3, 4, 5 minutes into this, I was like, okay, if Brody King's not going to absolutely murder Maxwell Jacob Friedman, then he's not going to win the belt. Good stuff with MJF working over Brody King's leg after he got out of the way of a senton, one of the front flip sentons in the corner. Brody kept going for it. MJF kept getting out of the way. Eventually, MJF was not able to get out of the way, and Brody King was able to hit it. There was the only time that I bought in was when he was able to do that and then hit the Gonzo bomb. I was like, whoa, that's the Gonzo bomb, for God's sake. But of course, MJF kicked out, which does make sense. You have to progress the story. MJF didn't kick out of it last time. Okay, well, now MJF has learned, now he can kick out of it. He's the world champion. Of course, he has the power to kick out. The finish to this match was crazy. MJF picks up Brody King and hits a tombstone on the apron. He had him in the tombstone position and just kind of fell forward, but it still looked really cool. Then he hit the Heat Seeker, which is a pile driver in the ropes, kinda, and he got the 1, 2, 3, retained his title. That did look good. The Heat Seeker is a move that should finish matches. Like, there's lots of wrestling moves out there that don't finish matches. Blue Thunder Bomb. And this is one of them. Like, he has you in the pile driver position over the middle rope, springs himself up, and then comes back down with so much force. And the fact that that move doesn't win as often as it should, it could be his finish. Now, it's not. Maxwell Jacob Friedman's one of those wrestlers that has multiple moves that could finish you off, which is cool. I like that when a wrestler has multiple finishes. But he retains his title. Afterwards, Hangman Adam Page comes out, and they get in each other's faces. He goes like this to like make MJF flinch. He falls to the ground and runs away. So that's another thing. MJF Hangman's never bad. And unless I'm misread something, I think this was the exact same match they had at Revolution last year. And some people are like, oh, well, that's the problem. It's not, though. Both these characters and both these wrestlers have come so far in a year. Now we get to do this fun little thing of, okay, this match happened last year. How does it hold up this year? I'm going to make a comparison. One, comparison is the thief of joy. And two, I'm not comparing the matches in quality. Look at me. Come here. Come closer. Come closer. Come a little closer. I'm not comparing them in quality. I'm just making a little bit of an idea comparison, all right? Now back up. I don't want you that close to my face. It is kind of like The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in a way where they had a match at WrestleMania 25. A year later, they were put in another match. Of course, Shawn's career was on the line. But we always look at them back to back. Okay, they had the same match 2 years in a row. How was it? That's the comparison here. A year ago, we had MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. I don't remember that match all that well because I've taken way too much wrestling content over 365 days. So now, what happens when they face off again? I'll probably go out of my way to watch that match just to see what the story was then, how it came about and all that, and then see what we do this time around. So, that does it for AEW Grand Slam Australia. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment down below if you watched the show. What did you think of it? Again, it was a really good show. I really did like it. And the main event was fine, but knowing that Brody King wasn't going to win, it just takes you out of it a little bit for me. Every match on a wrestling show should have Jeopardy. Even the weekly television crap. You should always be able to watch a match and go, I wonder who's going to win. Because that just makes it more fun. Revolution is going to be an awesome show. We're getting MJF Hangman. I feel like we're going to get Moxley Takeshita. I feel like we're going to get Fletcher Ciampa. We're probably going to get Mega Bad or Mega Cross or Cross Bad or Cross Assist. I don't know. For the women's tag team titles. Probably Tekla and Statlander again. We're going to get a lot of really good matches at Revolution, so I'm looking forward to that. But until next time, I have a lot more videos to get to. This is JT Channel. I am JT, and I will see you in the next one. Why do I keep doing the salute?